Hello and welcome to the Bird Talk Show right here on the Bird Garden YouTube channel. Glad you can join us. We're going to have a great show today. Lots of interesting topics, continuing interesting topics. I was looking back at some of the previous videos, and we've done a good job. This is episode 11 of the Bird Talk Show. We've done a great job of putting out key pieces of information concerning bird watching, taking care of the birds, how we can enjoy our lives better. That's exactly on target for the Bird Garden YouTube channel. So thank you guys for being here. If you're live, we're going to interact with the chat as the live stream goes on. If you're watching the replay, we're definitely going to have an eye on leaving this video up for replay purposes. So there's going to be a lot of content. You don't have to be involved in the chat to feel like this is worth your time. So thank you for participating in the replay. And if you've got a comment or a question and you're watching live, go ahead and leave it in the chat. If something piques your interest during the replay, go ahead and leave it in the comment below. I get back to those as quickly as I can. We're trying to engage with the audience. If you feel at any time like we're accomplishing our mission of engaging with the audience, why don't you hit that like button and say so. If you like it, go ahead and let the algorithm know. Let me know. It's encouragement for the whole system. Doesn't cost you anything. Put you on that blue thumb list. So we talked last week about Hawaii, birds, and ukuleles, and wow, that really was a serious rabbit hole for me. I've been studying Hawaiian birds, ukuleles, tropical ecology for a week now and loving it. I said study as if it were some kind of work. Definitely, it's not work. It's what I choose to do. I mean, with all of the subjects available on the internet, I choose to study these things based on our conversation last week. And I know that you have all of those options too on the internet. So thank you for being here. If this is the type of content you like to watch on the internet, why don't you subscribe right now to the Bird Garden channel? Whether you're live in the chat or watching the replay, hit the subscribe button. Right beside the subscribe button is the notification bell. We upload content all the time. We live stream every Wednesday at 1 p.m. So that notification bell will just send you a little notice whenever we upload new content. And also whenever we make a post on the community channel. I love using the community channel to keep you up to date on what's happening at the Bird Garden and around our family, our YouTube community. So I use that community tab pretty regularly. Make sure you get in on that by hitting the little bell icon and select all. You want all the notifications. It's just a little pop-up in the corner of your screen. Doesn't cost you anything. It's not a harassment. It's really cool, in my opinion. If I think enough of a channel to subscribe to it, typically I'll go ahead and hit the bell. I want to know when they upload something new. So that's for you and for me. There's a collaboration between us. I'll keep putting the content out, and you get notified and watch it, and that's win-win. If it's not your thing, thanks for stopping in, checking it out. Appreciate you giving us a shot. Feel free to come back anytime. We're going to be talking about bird watching whenever you come back. It's what we do. Today, we're also going to continue talking about that easy bird watching. Let me say, I had the Bird Garden YouTube channel, Bird Feeding Station 24/7 live stream pulled up, and there were no birds out there. And I went to let the dog out, and this huge Cooper's hawk just did a low pass. Like, I don't know where it came from, but when it got into the backyard, it was lower than my roof line. And it had to raise its elevation to get up over the fence. It was a big female Cooper's hawk. So that is not good for bird feeder business. And I'm glad that those birds amscrayed, got out of there, took cover to get away from the female Cooper's hawk, which is an accipiter. That's the type of hawk, the Accipidae family. They enjoy eating small songbirds. That's what they do. And I mean, that's natural, I guess. I don't want to see it. I've got my bird feeding station set up so the birds have excellent vision, perception, and escape. So I'm not creating a situation where they can easily get picked off. Lots of 10 feet at least of clear space all the way around. I probably have 15, and then low shrubs, trees, canopies, house and structures around the house, lots of hiding places, shrubs, all the things that make for a good habitat, shelter, places to eat, places to drink, breed, raise young, shade. It's a certified backyard habitat, and it works. If you want to attract wildlife, check out the certified backyard habitat program. I mean, it's step by step. You can do it or not do it. Take some of it, not all of it. You can apply for a certificate or not. But if you want to attract animals to your yard, it's a great way to do it. I want to check in on that right now. Let's just see what's going on at the Tennessee Bird Feeding 24/7 live station. All right, there it is. All right, so 0 birds. Potentially that hawk is still around. We'll leave that up. I'll keep an eye on that. We'll comment on it if it gets more active. If you notice, a couple of new seed feeders. There's a chickadee, Carolina chickadee. We had a big snow. We had about 4 inches of snow, and the thing just got hammered. We were feeding. We went through 2 pillar feeders. We refilled the tray 4 times in 2 days. And I don't know if you can scroll back on the timelines in the morning, you probably will see that 3-bowl feeder is heaping with loose seed. So every day those things just get chowed on. There was a tufted titmouse in there. We talked about that bird being replaced in the Rio Grande Valley, Texas, with the black tufted titmouse. That little the black crested titmouse. I'm sorry. The tufted titmouse has a little bit of black plumage right at the base of its beak there between its eyes, and then in the Rio Grande Valley, the black crested tufted titmouse, the black goes all the way to the tip of the crest. Pretty cool little bird. There's another one. The good view of his rufous side. This bird's got some hidden ground color there. That, by the way, he's feeding in that little center plastic dish that's full of tiny suet balls, high energy, and freeze-dried mealworms. What you see there sticking up in the tray, let me make that a little bit larger if I can. What you see there in the bottom of the tray, left side of the tray, is the remnants of a pillar feeder, much like the one you see there on the right side of the pole. And then on the extreme right, we replaced the squirrel feeder. It had been eaten to near nothing, and that is a lighter colored seed because it's safflower. Now, once you get your birds eating safflower, they love it, just like any of the other seeds. But mammals, if you're having a problem with squirrels or other mammals eating your bird food, and you don't want that, they do not like the safflower. Now, the other major deterrent that has worked at the Bird Garden YouTube channel 24/7 live bird feeding station is the heat infused food. And we get that from Wild Birds Unlimited, not sponsored. I mean, they could sponsor us, I guess. We've got a wild bird food store opening up in our area soon, and they've contacted me about speaking and sharing some videos from the Bird Garden. I'm happy to do that, and I will do that. And we'll see what happens. It's going to be a great relationship. I won't have to have but all of this that you see, the poles, the feeders, the tray, that's all Wild Birds Unlimited equipment that I bought. And it's just the evolution as I've been feeding birds for decades. This is where I've landed. This is what I do. I like this. All the food, also Wild Birds Unlimited, particularly that heat infused pillar feeder. I mean, let me tell you, after you have a bear visit your feeding station, if you haven't seen the bear video, go check out the bear video. We had a bear come in. When he left, I had about $200 worth of replacement of hardware to do. So I don't want to have anything out there that a bear might like, because in the springtime they wake up hungry around these parts apparently. So that heat infused food, no mammal likes that. The squirrels that used to come, I've seen one squirrel this I was going to say year, but we're only the 19th day into January at the time this is airing. Um, it's been months and months since I've seen a squirrel in the yard around the feeder. There's a red-headed woodpecker, juvenile. You can see it hasn't got the complete red hood. On the left feeder, that's a hairy woodpecker. Notice it's about as tall as that feeder. When the downy comes in later, you'll see that it looks very similar to the hairy woodpecker, but it's only half the length. So even though they look just alike, the size is incredibly different. We got that titmouse is hungry today. And there's probably half a dozen of those guys out there feeding in a little flock. But anyway, the heat infused food was not to the liking of the squirrel. One snow day, the squirrel came down, got a mouthful of heat infused food, started scratching his nose, jumped off the feeder. You could see him run up the hill there in the grass covered with snow, and he starts wiping his nose in the snow. Yeah, you just get that. It's cayenne pepper, is what it is. Get that capsaicin off of me. And then you'll see him run over to the 5,000-gallon koi pond with a 26-foot waterfall that we installed in the backyard prior to installing the bird feeding station. And that works as a super attractant to birds. Well, that day it attracted a squirrel. He went over there and drank and drank. So we've got the poison and the cure right there together. The cayenne pepper and the water. It just says, "Hey, mammals, don't go find a better idea. Make a better life decision." Now that's the way we want to do it. You may want to attract squirrels. You may love squirrels. That's fantastic. Really is. So we're running the Wild Birds Unlimited station with the Wild Birds Unlimited food products because that's my food and hardware of choice right now. You can go to any big box and find any manner of feeding apparatus and food that you care to, and it given enough time and the right space, enough care, it's going to attract birds. I've never been to a place where there were no birds. There's the three titmice together. Do you call those titmice? I call them titmice. It's probably not correct. It's probably titmouses, but I'm going to say titmice. So now for years now, I used just black oil sunflower seeds, which you can buy in bulk, 40, 50-pound bags. And the birds loved them. They just loved them. Now I'll say this, one bird that particularly loved them was the European starling, which can become a nuisance. There's an American goldfinch on the right pillar feeder, and in the front left of the tray, a Carolina wren. Beautiful Carolina wren. 45 degrees out there in the bird garden. So no problem. Let the starlings eat, get their fill. The squirrels love the black oil sunflower seeds. So then, as I started narrowing the target, as I got more precise on what I wanted to attract, what I wanted to watch, what I wanted to show others, I began to eliminate the black oil sunflower seed and replace it with the sunflower hearts. Okay, just the inside. Believe it or not, the starlings have not yet, knock on wood, they haven't yet discovered that the hearts that I'm feeding is what comes out of that black oil sunflower that is their target image. I've had one or two cardinals. I've had 50 and 100 in the waterfall. I mean, 15 feet from the bird feeding station, and they not come over and just take over the feeder. There's been 1 or 2 days during migration when blackbirds have inundated, lots of grackles, lots of cowbirds, a few starlings, 1 or 2 red-winged blackbirds, just mixed flocks. They've come in, but by and large, not using the black oil sunflower in the husk has deterred the starlings. So it's you get what you pay for. This premium food. And I'm not dealing with a lot. There's a house finch, female house finch or two. I'm not dealing with the nuisance species, birds or mammals, because of the high quality of the food. Works out perfect for me. I figured it out. I'm passing it along to you for your consideration. Put it on your buffet of options. If there's something you like in there, take as much as you want, use it, share it with your friends. If you know some friends that would like to have this information, hit that share button on this video and share it across your social media. You'll be helping me and your friends, and I appreciate it. We'll get some new friends in here on the Bird Garden. 3 of you watching right now. Glad to have you guys. Jerome, hello. Canisteo Valley Sicklage. I ask if I like a 6-string acoustic guitar, Dreadnought, folk body. I do, and I'm learning that my ukulele companies are also guitar companies, and there's this thing called a guitar lele, if you can imagine. I mean, stringed instrument, crazy. So yes, I do like acoustic guitar. The last guitar I bought for my son was an acoustic guitar, Martin acoustic guitar, beautiful instrument, lovely sounding, and he's performed all over with that thing. Sounds great on stage, plugged in, acoustic. It's a great instrument, and I do find myself favoring the acoustic guitar sound. Very nice. But as you know, I've become quite the ukulele enthusiast. I've been jamming with this thing. Oh, I love this thing. I want to make myself larger here so you can see it. Look at that. This is the Ohana DIY kit. There you go. See inside the sound holder. Ohana Ukuleles DIY Concert Pineapple. This thing was just a bare piece of wood when I got it. No hardware, no strings, no bridge. And I sanded her down and painted her and stained her and lacquered her. And it was coat after coat, sanding after sanding. I put a lot of love in this thing. But look at the result. This Ohana is beautiful. Yeah, I don't mind talking about it either. I'll tell you why. This thing, the particular theme here, the name of this ukulele, I named this one Mahi Pineapple Jam. So this is the Mahi Pineapple Jam, the Ohana Concert Pineapple ukulele, and it sounds wonderful. This mic is not great for ukulele. I apologize in advance, but I'll give you a little sample here. Let's see. I love this instrument. This is a beautiful instrument. Hashtag Ohana. Not only do they make a DIY kit that's affordable, then you end up with the world-class instrument. All of their wood, and all of their ukuleles, and man, do they make some sweet ukuleles. But all of it is certified and sustainable because that's important to Ohana. And, you know, last week the conversation went to how important that is, especially in Hawaii, where we're having some bird species go extinct right here in the United States, and how ukulele companies are doing things like planting a koa tree for every koa ukulele they sell, launching series in raising awareness of the endangered birds, and using sustainable and certified materials. Now, Ohana does that for every ukulele. Isn't that pretty? Oh, it turned out so nice. Can you tell I'm proud of this Ohana? Man, it's great. It's an instrument of peace. Everyone who plays it gets happier. They say you can't play a ukulele without smiling. George Harrison of the Beatles was a ukulele evangelist. It's just so cool, man. It's just so cool. It's portable. It goes anywhere. I mean, I've got a padded gig bag for this. I can take it anywhere. You're going to fly, musical instruments fly carry on. You don't have to check those anymore. Thank you, orchestra players, making a difference in the world. Now your instrument goes in the cabin with you. So this is the Ohana. Other ukulele companies, Also caring about our birds. What do birds and ukuleles have in common? Trees. Trees, man. Come on, it's that simple. So, yeah, I love my ukuleles. I love my birds. Why would I not love the birds? Okay, why would you not love the birds? I'm trying to give you all of the life benefits of loving the birds. There we go. Man, oh man, all this technology. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I know, it's hard to believe. Okay, how about that camera angle? And we got that McCall painting I did in 1993 in the background. Can I point to it? I don't know. Yeah, there it is. 1993. 4 people watching now. Hello, Dar, and welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. So good to see you. Oh, you love my ukes. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. They make me happy. I hope they make you happy. And I look around the studio now, and man, there's ukes. There's you. Did you see this one? After I got back from Alaska, I had to paint a totem pole. So raven totem. Can you see the raven? Yeah, raven totem. Yeah. One of the more colorful birds out there, always at the bird feeder, except right now as I look, is the northern cardinal. Yeah, that's a graphic I did, sent to Ukulele Company. We call this one the red bird. That's engraved in the neck. This is a Magic Flute Company. Flea concert size. That is the irisy mahogany soprano size. You met mahi pineapple jam, the Ohana. As the woodpecker and the titmouse came in, which woodpecker is it? Which woodpecker is it? Oh, and there's the American goldfinch. It's a male woodpecker. Okay. See how he's not quite as tall as that pillar is? That's the downy woodpecker. You'll also notice the beak. And as the red-headed woodpecker adult, full red hood, drops in for a leisurely snack, hanging around for a minute, so you can have a good look. I see above the 3-bowl feeder, the downy woodpecker's trying to sneak back in. We'll see if that was the same male or if he's brought his lovely bride to the feeder with him. There's the titmouse on the left. It's the male. It's the male eating the heat-infused, no mess seed pillar. I say no mess because not only does that seed out of the hull trick the European starling, it also doesn't leave a mess of food that can't be eaten under the feeder. They don't eat the husk. The husk fall on the ground. They accumulate. They attract mold, bugs, and critters. Okay, none of those I want at my bird feeding station. So I feed the no mess. There's the juvenile red-headed woodpecker. Now you can tell in another month or so, we're not going to be able to call him a juvenile. He's going to have that full red hood. It's already filling in. He's already molting into adult plumage. There's that's a handsome adult. Don't you love that bird? That's why it's the avatar of the Bird Garden channel. Oh, it's just lovely. Love that thing. Dar says yay in the live stream chat. I know that's, a pair of them. Look at that. Look at that. 2 adults. Yeah, it's Dar's favorite. It's my favorite. There went that male cardinal over the feeder. I saw it in the background. I hope you did. 7 of you watching. Thanks for being here. Now this guy's not too sure about that safflower yet. Like, this isn't the norm, man. What's going on? What am I supposed to do with this? I think I'll just come over here and eat some of the stuff I'm used to. Is what I'm going to do. Oh, there was a third one. There were 3 red-headed woodpeckers at the feeding station at the same time. And it looks like a female cardinal on the fence in the background. Here comes the Carolina wren. Carolina wren coming in from center field, surveying the situation. It's a buffet. It's a smorgasbord, trying to decide what it's. Oh, the little goldfinch says, "I want to turn. Get out of here, red-headed woodpecker." American goldfinch on the 3-bowl feeder. Carolina wren in the tray. Lots of protein and energy carbs in that tray. There's suet balls. There's peanuts. Peanuts, peanut halves, peanut pieces. Now the peanuts, there's that red-headed woodpecker, so gorgeous. The peanuts and the safflower seed are not heat infused, but we've been running, if you will, heat infused food in all the feeders for, oh, the male northern cardinal striking. There's the red bird. There it is. Let's see. How'd I do on my interpretation? Hold still there, buddy. That's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty good to transfer that to a ukulele. There's a hairy woodpecker. We were talking about the downy woodpecker. Now you see the difference. The hairy woodpecker is as tall as that cage. If he were on, yeah, he's at least as tall as the red-headed woodpecker. They're tall as the pillar, tufted titmouse down there in the feeding tray. And when the little downy woodpecker landed on that pillar, his head wasn't at the top, his tail wasn't on the bottom. He's only about half as long. There is a different juvenile red-headed woodpecker. See how little red he has in his hood versus the other juvenile. 5 people watching, getting to see the woodpecker show right here on the Bird Talk show. Female northern cardinal drops in on the 24/7 live Bird Garden channel, bird feeding station. Tufted titmouse in and out of there. 2 female northern cardinals. We have the American goldfinch feeding in the 3-bowl feeder. That's probably a female. If you look at that wing, it is more of a dark brown instead of a jet black. Difficult to call. Probably shouldn't even try to call it from here. That's like a definite male on the right on that pillar feeder. 2 males, 2 females on the left. You can tell a little bit of difference in the hand. It's a little easier. The bird with the red head, back, and chest, that's a male house finch. Female house finch without the red on the right. 2 female house finches, American goldfinch, northern cardinal female on the heat infused pillar feeder right of center. That was a mourning dove that came through the backside of the frame. Didn't land on camera. The house finch male down in the lower corner, left corner of the feeding tray, looks similar to a purple finch. Purple finch has brighter and more red on it, especially in the wing bars. Little stockier bird, little heftier. There's a biological rule that says usually things that inhabit colder climates are larger. And so when we get the purple finch, it's migrated down from its northern habitat. There's a downy woodpecker. Downy woodpecker on the suet balls on the left, and you can see not as tall as the cage. That's where the hairy woodpecker was moments ago. There's another adult red-headed woodpecker. Tufted titmouse in and out of the safflowers on the right. Do you know these birds? We're talking about these birds. You're seeing them full screen. 8 of you watching. There's a white crowned sparrow in the center. Oh, eating out of that clear tray. Looks like he is munching on suet balls, little small pieces of suet. Whip swirled in now. Wow, what a difference a little daylight will do for you. Very cool, Rack. Yeah, thank you, Whip Swirl. Thanks for being here and commenting. There's a juvenile red-headed woodpecker. 8 people watching us now. We're doing the call, the play-by-play at the 24/7 live bird feeding station right here on the Bird Garden YouTube channel. This is the Bird Talk Show, episode 11. Thank you for being here. We've talked about sustainability. We've talked about Hawaii, ukuleles, how they all relate to birds, quality bird feeding materials and foods, downy woodpecker, and a tufted titmouse working on the remains of a pillar feeder we've dropped into the feeding tray, left side of center. That looks like a female downy woodpecker, lacking the black or the red spot on the back of the head. No, that looked like maybe the male downy woodpecker coming in. It's he's in the center. He's on the pole. Oh, that's the male towhee. That's the male eastern towhee, North America's largest sparrow. What an ornate fellow. Glad to have you here, Mr. Towhee. The eastern towhee comes in. I think there's still a male downy woodpecker out of frame up at the top. 9 people now watching. I think just as the birds are coming to the feeder, the folks are coming into the live stream. Welcome. Glad to have you here. I'm monitoring the chat, but we're also just doing a bird caller feed for the people who join by replay. You can watch this anytime you want. It's free on the Bird Garden channel. If you've got a question or a comment, you can comment now as we are live in the chat. Later, if you're watching the replay, leave a comment below. We'll get back to you soon. It's 45 degrees. We've had snow in the area. It's probably the warmest temperature we've had in at least 48 hours. Up to 4 inches of snow. You barely see remnants there on the left side of the feeding tray. And it looks like we're going to continue to have overnight temperatures below 20 and daytime highs over 40. That's a pretty big range. What that means is, as the birds sleep all night, they're using a lot of energy to not freeze to death at 18 degrees Fahrenheit. So in the morning, I mean at daylight, 7:45 to 8:15, we're going to have a lot of activity. Then, of course, on beyond 8 to 9 o'clock, heavy activity on the feeding station. Then around noon, it slows down. And then about this time of day, it starts picking back up. At 3 o'clock, it will be crowded again, probably until 5. And then there'll be northern cardinal and white-crowned sparrows coming in through dusk. So one thing about that Cooper's hawk that we mentioned at the top of the show that came through the yard, did a low pass, this really scoping out the feeding station, and had to gain elevation to get over the fence. Big female, big bird. They like to feed. They're most active during the twilight hours, dawn and dusk. So high noon and after, this is the time of day where they're not so active. They're not. And that gives the birds more confidence. The Cooper's hawk, takes a siesta someplace. So after the birds have their siesta, 11 o'clock, they take a break, 11:30. Then noon, especially in the winter months, it's like this, like no birds there. Then, like shortly, they're 10, 15 afternoon, they start trickling in. And then we had a frenzy here just a moment ago. I mean, 5 species at one time, probably 8 birds at one time. And they, it was frenetic. Whip's World said, "What a difference little daylight will make." Yeah, it was super busy. We're going to keep an eye on that. But we've talked about providing for these birds in our habitat so we can watch them at our leisure. Having this 24/7 live stream set up is good, not only for you, but for me. Wherever I go in the world, I can tune in YouTube and see what's happening in my little bird garden. And I love that. So I take good care of it. I use quality stuff, and the result is I get quality birds. No surprise. I want that to continue to happen. I want it to happen for anybody who wants to do it. I want to help you do it. You want to attract birds, you want to watch, let me help you. Happy to help. That's why we're here. Tune in often. I love playing the ukulele, and I certainly appreciate what I've learned about the ukulele manufacturing process and people that are responsible for these companies caring about the tree. Now, it just makes common sense to me. If you're going to make a ukulele out of wood, you're going to need a tree, right? And if you get rid of all the trees, you're not going to have any trees. Okay. It just so happens that when you protect the trees, you're protecting the birds and lots of other ecology. But, I'm crazy about the birds. So to learn that the Ohana company uses certified sustainable wood for every ukulele in their line is very encouraging. It makes me love my Ohana ukulele even more. To know that there are ukulele companies out there that are planting trees, that are raising awareness to endangered bird species in Hawaii, it just makes me, well, it warms my heart. Okay, it's not a burden, it's not a concern, it's not a distraction, distortion in the background, static. It's a happy thought. I like to come across that idea every now and then, whether intentionally or subconsciously. It's a happy place, right? Just like the ukulele. You can't play the ukulele without smiling. They said it. I believe it. It works. It's a happy instrument. It's an instrument of peace. It's beautiful. It's lovely. All of those things I could say about the birds too. They make my life better. I want to show you how so they can make your life better if you choose to let them. Um, my dog just joined us. You can't see her; she's off camera, um, doing what she does best. She's guarding the studio right now. Look out! Would you like to appear on camera? Would you like to say hello? Come on, come here, come here. She's scouting to see if I have any treats. Is this going to result in a treat, Dad? Come here, come here, come here. Say hello. Come here, come here. You're a good girl. You are. You're a good girl. Come here. Come here. No. She's playing the ukulele with her tail. She's wagging it. That's good. She is a good girl. She is. She's a good puppy. She's sometimes camera shy. That's okay. That's okay. You don't have to perform for free. I didn't bring a treat. You're not missing anything. Yeah, you're a good ukulele player, though. You are. Yeah, come here. Come here. Come on. Nope, not exercising the hip today. Well, I'm going to get back to the bird people, okay? You be a good girl. Oh, there's a tufted titmouse. There's two tufted titmouses, which make titmice. oh, let's see. We can make that titmouse bigger. Okay, what about that? You see the little bit of black above the base of the beak there. American goldfinch comes in on the right side of the center. Another tufted titmouse in the center tray. There's you've got a good shot of the suet ball that it absconded with, and there is the downy woodpecker. That's the female. See, it lacks the red on the back of the head. We have been going for 38 minutes now. Great to see you, Danica Aquatics. Hello, Alshon as I. Good to see you. All right, all right. We got some bird activity here. That female downy woodpecker, half the size of the pillar when you're watching without me. There's the Carolina chickadee. It's very similar to the black-capped chickadee, but we have the Carolina chickadee around here. A little less white in the wings on the side. This downy woodpecker, not as tall as the pillar. Now, if you see a woodpecker that looks very similar to that, but it is as tall as that pillar, that's the hairy woodpecker. Now look at the beak on that female, very cooperative female downy woodpecker. The beak it appears to be less long than the head is wide, okay? Now when you see the hairy woodpecker, that big beak looks at least as long as the head is wide. That's another way you can tell those two species apart. There's American goldfinch on the three-bowl feeder, tufted titmouse on the pillar with the downy woodpecker, Carolina chickadee in the feeding tray. Oh, that little bird is so cool. I've got a close-up of that bird, and it's like showing you, there it is again on the right side of the feeding tray. It's got a wide range, a repertoire of songs that it sings. All right, let me show you a close-up of that bird. Now it gets its name from one of its calls. It says chickadee dee dee, chickadee dee dee. And listen, anything that you want to know about birds, Google's full of information. And if you Google any bird, you'll probably see a reference pop up in the top 2 or 3 options that say all about birds. And that's a website hosted by Cornell University and eBird, and it's top-notch stuff. I definitely recommend All About Birds, eBird, and if you want an online identification guide, an app, use Merlin. It's free and it is fantastic. It will help you identify birds. Merlin, Merlin. I recommend that app. Now we've got a downy woodpecker on the suet balls on the left. We've got American goldfinch and a tufted titmouse on the three-bowl feeder, and we have 3 American goldfinches on the heat-infused pillar on the right side of the pole. That tufted titmouse now jumping over there to help those guys out before he takes off with a mouthful of seed. Who is that? Looks like a downy woodpecker hiding behind the suet balls. Yep, and that bird just flew up in the tree there. The one tree in my backyard is like an airport. There's a very busy landing and holding space for birds as they come and go from the feeding station or the pond to get a drink. And now we've got 5 American goldfinches, a female house finch on the safflower on the right, changing pillars now. We've got a tufted titmouse, 2 tufted titmouses. What does that make? If you've got 2 tufted titmouses, they're titmice, so we say. Okay, looks like we have on the heat-infused pillar on the right side of the pole, a female house finch now has joined the American goldfinches. A male robin on the fence line behind the feeding station, easy to see back there, bright red. One, two, three titmice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 American goldfinches, female house finch. Birds are coming and going. This is what we call a flurry. We're having a flurry. Now, I don't know if you saw that or not. I saw a seed fly out of the 3-bowl feeder. 2 male cardinals on the fence behind the feeding station now. What happens is, you don't see this out of screen, but under the feeder, song sparrows and mourning doves patrol all day, picking up all that seed that's dropped. Song sparrows and mourning doves during the winter. They're joined by chipping sparrows during the breeding season. I've also seen a few white-crowned sparrows down there, but the white-crowned sparrows don't mind coming up into the tray and eating. Stephen P. 2003 Aquatics, hello and welcome, sir. Great to have you always. We're 43 minutes into this 11th episode of the Bird Talk Show right here on the Bird Garden. We're doing the play-by-play on the bird feeding station. We are overrun right now. More birds than I can talk about at one time. As the Carolina wren comes in center of the feeding tray, 3-bowl feeders with some American goldfinches, and the male house finch, tufted titmouse on the left at the suet ball feeder, changing places with several other birds. There's the northern mockingbird and all the little birds that go tweety, tweet, tweet. Got on out of Dodge. Here comes the male red-bellied woodpecker. Is that the 4th woodpecker species today? Holy cow, not afraid of a northern mockingbird, which unfortunately during the snow, male northern cardinal comes in, a northern mockingbird, grabbed a bluebird and pinned him temporarily on the feeding tray. No one was hurt, just a little scuffle there on the playground. And that northern mockingbird's gone down. Here come the small birds back. It was great to see that male red-bellied woodpecker. He did have a lot of red on his head, but he wasn't a red-headed woodpecker. There's the male northern cardinal. 2 male house finches there with red heads. American goldfinches with the black wings, white wing bars. There's the female northern cardinal. There's the cardinal pair. You see the difference. Excellent comparison right now. Excellent comparison. All right, we got 14 people watching as a red-bellied woodpecker feeds on the heat-infused pillar right of center. The female northern cardinal is on. Oh, there's a juvenile white-crowned sparrow just hopped up to the suet balls. Juvenile white-crowned sparrows. The adults with the there's the adult, bold white and black cap. There's the song sparrow on the right, song sparrow on the left. Oh, wow. A tufted titmouse comes in with the song sparrow and the male house finch in the tray. 3-bowl feeder with the American goldfinch, male house finch. There's the male and the juvenile, the adult and the juvenile, white-crowned sparrow on the suet balls. The male northern cardinal comes and joins the 3-bowl feeder when he's replaced by another male cardinal. Meanwhile, we've got American goldfinches on the safflower seed on the right and house finches and American goldfinch on the heat-infused pillar, right side of the pole. We got a flurry. We got a flurry going on. If you want to play this back, you go back and look at the difference between the female house finch and the song sparrow. Superficially similar, but when you get the two together, you're easily able to pick out the differences. There's that Carolina wren back after those suet balls and freeze-dried mealworms in the clear tray on the center of the pole. There's the juvenile white-crowned sparrow, tan stripes on the head, brown and tan versus white and black. Love seeing those birds. I actually saw them on the breeding grounds in Alaska when I was in Alaska doing bird watching and other things. I saw those guys singing on their nests. So cool. So they've got quite a migratory path. Um, and I think they range all across that latitude for breeding all through Canada. And then wherever they are, they probably come more or less straight south to migrate. As we continue to feed a bunch of American goldfinches, a couple of house finches, a male and a female. We did have a visit from the red-bellied woodpecker. And prior to that, we had as many as 3 red-headed woodpeckers, and both the hairy woodpecker and the similar-looking downy woodpecker. 4 species of woodpecker in the last 5 minutes. So note the time. Let's see if I do this. Yeah, see the time in the lower corner of the bird feeding station feed? It says 13:48. So if you go back to 13:40, just hold your cursor over the bottom of when you go to the live stream, not on this stream, but the live stream of the feeding station, hold your cursor over the bottom of the video and you'll see a line. Go all the way to the right side of the line. There's a little dot you can pull backwards. If you can get it back to around 13:40, you'll start seeing red-headed woodpeckers. And if you can go back up to 12 hours, about 12 hours. So usually you can check a morning feeding rush if you've missed that. There's a red-headed woodpecker. We've got to go back to full screen now because that guy's so beautiful. Look at that. 48 minutes into this thing, we've had red-headed woodpeckers most of the day doing a lot of calling of the bird feeding station because there's a lot of pressure on these birds. They're hungry. You see the remnants of snow on the left side of the feeding tray, and it's been below 20 degrees for several nights in a row and will be for the next week. So there's going to be a lot of activity on this feeding station. If you're enjoying what you see, please come back. Tell a friend. Leave a like. So this is the adult red-headed woodpecker, full red cap. I did mention prior to starting the live stream, I went outside. I let the dog out, and there was a large Cooper's hawk. There's Carolina chickadee that flew, made a low pass, low and slow over the bird feeder. Got a good look. Had to gain altitude to get back up over the fence. And so right before 11:45 Eastern time, looked like it does now. No birds. So I was concerned we wouldn't have any birds to talk about. 5 after 12, we started getting birds, and it's picked up with several flurries. I mean, 12, 15 birds at a time on the bird feeding station in the last hour. And this is the slowest hour. And, oh, man, speak of the devil. I just saw in the background that Cooper's hawk soar back in the woods. It was right over. You can go back and look at this. What's the timestamp on that? 13:50. You go back at 13:49 and start watching. Watch right over the peak of the suet ball feeder on the left. So if that suet ball feeder, if I point with this finger, if the lid of that suet ball feeder was a pointer, it would have pointed at the track of that Cooper's hawk that I just saw soar back there. No worries. Here is the juvenile red-headed woodpecker. You can tell it hasn't got all of its red plumage in its hood yet. 10 people checking out that juvenile red-headed woodpecker. Thank you guys for being here. You ever get birds of prey, Danica? And sure enough, there's the eastern bluebird pair, the male in the tray eating the mealworms. Female was in the tray. The male was in the plastic dish. They're spooked by the red-headed woodpecker. Full redhead, that's an adult. We got a female house finch on the heat-infused pillar right side of center. We got that adult. Yeah, it's so good. Oh, there's the juvenile and now an adult for comparison. There's a white-crowned sparrow joining the. Oh wow, what? Oh man, those are great birds to sit in my feeding station. I love it. The Carolina chickadee drops in, and there was a male house finch on the right side now. Yep. So these are all seeds in the heat-infused pillar that the juvenile red-headed woodpecker is eating. Seeds and nuts. And then there's the female bluebird. She's in the clear plastic feeder in the middle. There's another female bluebird, and there are suet balls, tiny suet balls. There's a white-crowned sparrowback and freeze-dried mealworms. A lot of protein in that tray. A lot of birds like that. That wouldn't typically be at a bird feeder because they eat insects and such. The northern mockingbird being a prime example. Not a bird seed eater. You may see it take a seed while it's up there. Hey, it's on the buffet. I may throw one back, see if it's any good. But right now we've got 3 eastern bluebirds, 1 male, 2 females. We've got about 5 house finches, assortment of male and females. Female northern cardinal on the 3-bowl feeder. I'm sure, yep, there's an American goldfinch or 2 on the heat-infused feeder. Skipper's Aquariums join us. Glad to have you, Tom. Welcome, as always. Male northern cardinal on the 3-bowl feeder. Male northern cardinal in the background on the fence. Eastern bluebird male on the clear plastic feeder in the middle. 2 eastern bluebirds, male and female. There's the mourning dove. First appearance of this show of the mourning dove. We've got the American goldfinch. We've got the house finch. We've got the eastern bluebird and the mourning dove continuing to feed. And I guarantee you there are birds under that feeder right now. Probably more doves, song sparrows, and maybe a staging bird or 2 that'll just hop back up at any given time. Not uncommon to see. There's a red-headed woodpecker juvenile. That's the juvenile that's almost got its full hood. Yeah, there's 2 male cardinals on the fence. If you look down the fence row, 2 male cardinals. Here comes a female northern cardinal. I see a 3rd male northern cardinal in the background and 2 females back there in the trees. 2 mourning doves now. This is Grand Central Station. We've got a flurry. Male towhee on the fence left side of the pole, just over the suet balls. Back there on the top rail of the fence, that's the male eastern towhee. He joined us. You can scroll back a few minutes and see the male towhee. Whoo, what a beauty. That guy, I'm so glad to have him on the feeder. I knew it was going to be an active feeding day. I'm so glad I get to share this with you guys. I hope you're enjoying it. This is all possible because I set up a station in my backyard, put some food on it to attract the birds, and here they are, and we're having a great time. We're having a great time looking. You can do the same thing. I made a video. You can go back and look at a video called Easy Bird Feeder. Proven, easy bird feeder. And I put a bucket in my backyard with some bird seeds on it and a rock so it wouldn't blow away or get knocked over. And then I set up a little motion-activated camera. Guess what? I got birds eating off of a bucket lid, just seeds I put down. You can do it. In a paper plate, a frisbee, a rock, anything that just props the seed up and says, hey, birds, this is for you. Male northern cardinal now on the 3-bowl feeder as we get a congress of mourning doves. Now they're going to wipe out all of the food that's in that tray. When they leave, when you see the mourning doves, you'll know the food in that tray. When they leave, you'll know the food in that tray is gone. I'm going to have to go out there and refill it. Yep. So if you're watching the bird feeding live stream after this live stream, after the Bird Talk show, you'll probably see me out there fortifying the feeding tray. Let's see. Someone tell me in the chat if my mic is muted when I go off the screen. Can you still hear my audio? Someone give me an audio check. Hi, Chevy Fish, and welcome. If you can hear me, I'm waiting for an audio check. Okay, Danikin, thanks. Thank you very much. Chevy Fish asked, do you have trouble with squirrels, mice, or crows? I've not had a crow at the feeding station yet. I think in part because the seed is already shelled. That's a huge deterrent to the European starlings around here. Mice, I've seen 1 mouse in the feeding tray, and squirrels were a problem when we first set up the feeding station several breeding seasons ago. And I've deterred all the mammals by using heat-infused food. So if you look at the partial pillar in the left corner of the feeding tray behind the mourning dove down there now that the house finches are eating, male and female house finch, and right side of center, that pillar that looks kind of orangish in tone, it's that color because it's heat-infused with cayenne pepper. Birds can't taste the capsaicin. They don't mind. They may even like it, but mammals can't stand it. So after feeding that for over a year, the mammals have been deterred. The squirrels don't even come back in my yard. The only reason the squirrels wanted to come in my yard is because of all the free food. And they found they didn't like it. I don't like to feed. Maybe you do. If you like feeding squirrels, do not use the heat infused food. I did not. So I've got the heat infused food going. It is deterring the mammals, including the not seen another mouse. He came up there and ate one piece of peanut that had the heat on it, and he has not been back. So, there's the female eastern bluebird on that clear container eating suet balls and freeze-dried mealworms. So it's not that the mammals aren't hungry, it's just they don't like the food that's out there. So they decide to make better life choices for themselves and go someplace else. There's the downy woodpecker on that heat-infused pillar. Look like the female, no red on the back of the head. It's 57 minutes into the show. We're going to go for 60 minutes today, so we're winding down. If you've got questions, go ahead and get them in the chat. I'll take a look at that before we close out. I certainly have enjoyed our time together today, just talking about all the birds that are showing up right now in the bird garden at the 24/7 live bird feeding station. And now that I've mastered the technology, I'm able to share this with you during the live stream. I'm so happy to do that. It's one of the things I like to do best is to talk to friends about birds. I love it. I love it so much. If you're not feeding birds, but you enjoy this, just keep coming back, watching my birds. There went a juvenile red-headed woodpecker. I've got the birds for you to watch. Drop in, give this thing a look-see. I find that it lowers my blood pressure. It takes my mind off what's bothering me. It separates me from the distractions of life. It's healthy. It's a mental rest. I hope that's what it is for you. That's the intent of putting it out there. And here it is. Here it is. Eastern bluebird, mourning dove, white-crowned sparrow, American goldfinch. And we are January the 19th. We're in the middle of winter. Can you imagine these birds in breeding plumage in the spring? Well, hang around. April, May, they're going to be here. They're going to be in brilliant plumage. We may have some replacement birds. There's the red-headed woodpecker have been breeding for 3 years in the bird garden. I've not located the nest tree, but there's the adult. It's just on the other side of the fence. The mourning doves, all over the place, every day. Every day. The white-crowned sparrow leaves during the breeding season. The chipping sparrow comes in, replaces it. Carolina chickadee, resident, year-round, going to be here. We're going to have birds for you. You turn on the Bird Garden channel. We're going to have birds for you to watch. We've got 24/7 live stream anytime you want to watch it. I've got highlight videos. I've got a bear in the yard. Watch the bear video, then find some other birds you want. I just got back from Rio Grande Valley, Texas, a birding festival. I've been posting lots of videos of, listen to this, world-class bird watching. Free videos. Click on them. If you like them, share them with your friends. I appreciate that. Leave a comment. If you've got a question or a comment, I've looked at the live chat here. Not seeing any questions over there. Thank all of you guys for being here in the chat with me today and for sharing the Bird Garden feeding station. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. We're going to talk some more about birds. We may have a little bit of ukulele fun. We may talk about sustaining our ecology, so we'll have birds to watch for our children, our grandchildren, and their children. But until the next time, why don't you get out there and see some birds?